WrestleMania Night 2 Sunday is in the books, 2025. We walked out with some familiar champions. We walked out with some new champions. John Cena becoming the 17-time world champion, breaking Ric Flair's record. We'll get into that. And what everybody thought would be one ending ended up turning out to be another. We'll also get into Io Sky and the ladies putting on a banger, and I hate that term, but a banger of a matchup, really setting the tone for night 2. Night 1, not so great, except for I do believe that night 1 of WrestleMania on Saturday was the pre-show for night 2, and night 2 had a different tone. And this day really went by quick for me. Night 2 went by so fast. It was like when you're out at the club with your friends, and then you realize it's 3 in the morning after a night of drinking, and you say, you know what, I should have switched to water a long time ago, but we're shutting it down. And WrestleMania is looking to shut it down after this evening, after much work from the whole WWE TKO Endeavor group. Let's get in. And get in we shall. We're going to start out with the matchup that set the tone for the evening, the women's world title matchup. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Bianca Belair. 3 different styles of wrestling, but yet 3 very familiarities between all the women. Ultimately, we've got the powerhouse of Rhea Ripley over in popularity. We've got Bianca Belair showcasing her skills, as she always does every WrestleMania. Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley both showing a very solid record. Bianca Belair undefeated at WrestleMania, and Rhea Ripley never losing a championship match at WrestleMania. I hate when a WWE starts right off the gate in their entrances with these kind of stats, because that immediately tells me that Io Sky is most likely to set a record or at least some kind of accolade. And Io Sky did win this matchup after a much contested affair. The women showcased all of it. It set the tone for the night. And ultimately, none of these women walked out if you're looking weak. But more importantly, Io Sky walked out of here looking on a very similar level with Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley while remaining women's champion of the world. Ultimately, I do believe that we will get a Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair one-on-one feud spinning off from this. Interesting note on the evening of the WWE announcing, and as they announced, in the introductions, they did mention Io Sky still representing Damage Control. Found that to be a little bit interesting, just kind of a focus point. And ultimately, that was the match, and I said, what is going to have to follow this matchup? And you know what? WWE placed the match that followed it very well with a Sin City street fight between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. I'm going to make a bold prediction. Maybe not a spoiler, but a prediction. Drew McIntyre will be World WWE Champion by this time next year. He will get that world title shot. I could see him going into Money in the Bank or even King of the Ring and going on to dethrone Jey Uso. I see Drew McIntyre getting a title back. I see that happening maybe even next year before or at WrestleMania 42. But ultimately, this matchup was Damian Priest. Damian Priest has become the great rival to Drew McIntyre. Every yin needs a yang. Every Shawn Michaels needs its Bret Hart. Every Brock Lesnar needs its Roman Reigns. And ultimately, we do get Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. These two putting on a great matchup, using all that you would imagine to be used. Tables, ladders, chairs, oh my, and steel steps, just to add a little dash of spice into it. We do get a lot of moments in the matchup. We get a Claymore kick attempted ultimately into the steel chair that was lodged in between the ring ropes, pinning Damian Priest 1, 2, and 3. We had some fun entrances in this one too. We had a very nice Damian Priest entrance, and we had a Drew McIntyre commercial-based entrance with the Doom video game, but I was okay with it because it had the attire of Doom, but you wouldn't have thought much of it because it was Drew McIntyre, and it kind of did fit the little bit of a vibe that sometimes he likes to give off. So I was okay with that one, but ultimately it did feel like special. And I said at this point, after the women's match and after the Sin City street fight, I said it's starting to feel like WrestleMania. I was excited to see what else. And I said right now we're 2 for 2 on matches. And what are we going to follow up with? We're going to follow up with an Intercontinental Championship match. Could have went either way. Lana, my AI, she predicted that Finn Balor or a member of Judgment Day would go on to win this one. And a member of Judgment Day did. It was Damian Mysterio actually picking up the win and the Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker looks strong. Penta looks strong. Penta still looks like he's getting used to the WWE ring, being a little bit newer out of the three of these guys. Braun Breaker looking like an evident powerhouse and somebody that could challenge for a world title someday. Ultimately, it was Dirty Dom getting the win and ultimately taking advantage where Finn Balor hit a coup de grace, ultimately did get it, but then Dom ultimately hits a leapfrog, but he gets a pinfall and he gets the title, and ultimately I'm just going to be interested to see what Dom does with the Intercontinental title, and then we know he knows how to entertain. Again, Penta looking strong in the matchup as well. Let's get into our next, where we have Randy Orton in an open challenge. WWE making good on their partnership with TNA Impact Wrestling. Say his name and he appears. Joe Hendry, to the love of the crowd, comes out. And I was excited to see what they did with this. One thing is very clear. Randy is a lot bigger than Joe Hendry, and the size really did show. Ultimately, a fun matchup. Hendry trying to get the crowd into it, but it got its job done. Randy Orton got his 20th WrestleMania appearance and a win, hitting the RKO and then even posing in a Joe Hendry-like way while doing the Randy Orton shining the light pose. Ultimately, we do get then him a nice tap to Hendry like, you're all right, kid. And ultimately, that we do get a TNA champion appearing at WrestleMania, making it feel very special that this open challenge was truly open to even a world champion of another company. So again, I like the choice here. We could have went the route of Rusev. We could have went the route of Aleister Black. We could have went a couple different ways. But I feel like Joe Hendry was a nice gesture to TNA that the WWE wants to do business and start mixing and mingling and hitting the forbidden door a little bit, if you will. A concept that wrestling fans are definitely not new to. Up next, we got the special attraction match of AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Logan Paul going over on AJ Styles tonight. We had a Logan Paul, not commercialized type wrestling match. It wasn't anything outside that we normally did see in Logan Paul. We didn't see the Prime Energy drink commercials during the match or anything like that, so little surprise in there. But ultimately, we did get Logan Paul getting the win, getting the nod. Some people allude to that means AJ Styles could be on his way to AEW in a Dynamite type conclusion to his story. Will that happen? Will that not? Time will tell, but I believe he could make an impact somewhere someday. Ultimately, Logan Paul does get the win. WWE has him picking up his WrestleMania win, moving ahead, moving on, and Logan Paul putting eyes on the business. We get into the tag championship match for the women. Now, this matchup, Bayley mysteriously pulled from the event in place of Becky Lynch. The return of Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria do have a history with each other. They've endorsed each other. And now Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyrie becomes a two-belt champion at the side of two-belt Becky. And ultimately, we do get the tag championships changing hands. This matchup, the lesser of the night, but that's not a terrible thing on such a great show. It got the job done. It was nice to see Becky back in the ring with her protege. And we move ahead, and at this point, I realize, wow, we're at the main event. Guys, thank you for talking wrestling with me all weekend long at the Bryan Atkins on Wrestling Twitter X. Ultimately, we do have the fans of ProWrestling.com as well. Hit that like button. Helps get algorithms going. It helps get things talking. So we got the Undisputed WWE Championship. And the main event, we've got Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. So much history. The final boss, not a final factor in this matchup, but John Cena getting his 17th win, breaking Ric Flair's record. The Nature Boy Ric Flair on Twitter already congratulated John Cena, and he said somebody had to do it, and he was proud that it was John to break that record. John Cena is the right choice to break the infamous Ric Flair record of world championship reigns. 17 has a nice ring to it. I'm excited to see what John does. The matchup itself, we got no Rock, we got no final boss, but we got Travis Scott. The Rock was there in a form. Travis Scott was enough to get it done. Cody got his receipt, as they call it. He got his payback. But ultimately, he did lose the title with some Travis Scott interference. And John Cena looking a little surprised that Travis Scott was down there to help. I don't understand why, or maybe he was looking a little relieved. We'll get more to this story on The Rock, I'm sure, on Monday Night Raw. And John Cena coming out as world champion after WrestleMania. There's more time to tell, and the time is now. Let's go ahead and let's get into our final thoughts, and here we go. John Cena as world champion is going to bring a fresh perspective on the world title picture. Not just breaking the record, but it gets the title off of Cody in a way where nobody will blame Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, while he was having some good heated up feuds with Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens, there was some time where the feuds just seemed to drag on a little bit in the last year. So I felt like this was the right choice in getting the belt off of him without anybody really noticing. And it'll make it just as sweet when he eventually gets his title back. Ultimately, defeating and taking it back from the man that took it from him to break all the record books. WrestleMania Night 2 compared to Night 1 was definitely WrestleMania season. I stand by my decision of saying Night 1 was the pre-show for Night 2. I challenge WrestleMania, if we are going to commit to the two-night format, that we do get the two-night format high quality. That is 2 Super Bowls of WrestleMania in one weekend. But the main event of Night 1 ultimately was cannot miss TV with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman getting the shocking twist of events. So if you guys watch Night 1 and you are short on time, I would recommend the main event triple threat match. But other than that, Night 2 was a solid match up and down from card to card. And also, we had lots going on this week in WrestleMania. I'll be talking about it throughout the week. But thank you guys, and let's see what Cena does in his last year as champion. Thank you guys, and I'm out.